So I say that it is a tool that helps an organization to recognize the internal and external factors. It helps the organization to recognize the internal and external factors that could impact internal and external factors that could impact the performance of the firm. And firm here we mean enterprise or business, right? The performance of the firm. Performance of the firm. So I want you to proceed and say that the analysis helps one to evaluate. Analysis helps one to evaluate. Analysis helps one to evaluate potential opportunities and threats. Analysis helps one to evaluate potential opportunities and threats. It helps one to evaluate potential opportunities and threats present in the organization. Present in the organization. Now, when you talk about opportunities, these are the things that can make your business prosper, right? For example, we could be talking about a new technology that you've adopted. We could be talking about the fundings. Maybe you have some soft sources of funds which do not charge much interest. Maybe the opportunities are basically the new product that you're producing that no one else is producing in the environment or in that particular economy, right? And the threats are, of course, things that can hinder your business. So this could be the changes in technology, the changes in regulations, right? Lack of sufficient funds, those can be threats. So I need to understand how threats can affect the business. You can proceed from where we stopped and say that, start a paragraph and say that these indicators will further help you. These indicators will further help you in the decision-making process. These indicators will further help you. These indicators will further help you in the decision-making process. These indicators, using these, not this, these indicators will further help you in the decision-making process. Also, the last paragraph you say that the analysis helps organization. The analysis helps the organization. The analysis helps the organization to align its strategies. To align its strategies relevant to the business environment. It helps the organization to align its strategies relevant to the business environment. So what we're basically saying is that when you do environmental analysis, you are able to understand both threats, which I have mentioned, and of course the opportunities. When you are able to identify them, analyze them, you can actually take advantage of them and make your business prosper. And through that understanding, you can now make better decisions. You can make better decisions, come up with the right strategies that are very relevant for the business. Now, let's look at this kind of environment. Let's look at microenvironment. 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 So you can say that this refers to the environment which is in direct contact with the company. This refers to the environment. They refer to the environment. They refer to the environment which is in direct contact with the company. Which is in the direct contact with the company and affects the routine activities of business straight away. And affects the routine activities of business straight away. They affect the routine activities of business straight away. They affect the routine activities of business straight away. So these factors that have direct impact to the business, for example, customer. Your customer affects your business directly. We call them micro, right? So if the customer flows reduces, that affects your business straight away, right? If the suppliers have refused to give you the products that you want or raw materials, that will affect your business straight away. I want you to proceed and say that these components of micro environments these are the things that makes up the microenvironment. These components of microenvironments are, number one, suppliers. Number two, customers. Those are micro, they have direct impact. Number three, competitors. Number four, shareholders. I hope that you've written number one. We said that number one was what? Number one, we said that customer, suppliers, competitors, or we said supplier. We started with supplier, then customers, competitors, right? Then number four, shareholders. Number five, marketing intermediaries. Marketing intermediaries. Marketing intermediaries. Marketing intermediaries. Number six, employees. Employees. General public, that is number seven. General public, that is number seven. General public, that is number seven. Media and social media. Now, today, in today's world, media is a very important tool, and you can't ignore the impact or effects of media in your business, right? Just do a small mistake and everything will be in the social media. TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere, right? So media, you can never ignore, right? So they are basically those ones. Now, when you talk about customer, you might listen to this. You don't have to write, but you need to understand what it's all about. So how can customers affect your business, for example? So we are saying that the customers are the central part of the business. So the business always tends to retain and attract more customers so that they can generate revenue. So anytime the number of customers or customer flow goes down, that will definitely affect your business. Number two, we talked about suppliers. If the suppliers are not able to give you the raw material, they are not reliable, that will also affect your business, right? Because you can't be able to produce the expected goods. So suppliers will affect your business in two ways. Number one, in terms of the supply of the raw material, and of course, the supply of quality raw material, because it is the quality that will also give a quality product. So those ones will affect your output because they are basically inputs. If you don't have inputs, the outputs will also be affected. The next one are competitors. You have to understand the styles that the competitors are using so that it can remain competitive in the business. If you have competitors who are trying to reduce the price, they want to be leaders in terms of the price or cost leadership, where they're trying to reduce the cost of production so that they can also, in turn, reduce the price of goods, then that will affect your business. You have to strategize and try to look at the best approach to counter that. We have stakeholders, shareholders. These are the people who will also influence your business. These are investors. Maybe probably the business has been sponsored, or you have some donors, or you have some shareholders who expect you to give them return, right? Now, if they are shying away, you'll not have enough capital and you'll run on a liquidity problems. The company will have a shortage of funds. And then we talk about marketing intermediaries. They are also very important. So these include individuals or firms who help the company do promotions. They help the company do sales, distributions, and cycles, right? If you don't have them, they are not reliable, or they are running away from you because you don't pay them, or they are not giving quality services, then definitely your business will be affected. Similarly, we have general public. Today, public also have a very important impact in the business. So this refers to the group of people who have actual or potential interest in the company. They have interest in the company's products. And so the reputation that you have on the general public, the population of the general public also have the impact. Reputation will make customers run away, right? And the population will also affect the business because the higher the population, they have the chances of getting potential customers. I can't emphasize more on media and social media. That when we know the effect already, you can be able to explain that, right? So the employees also affect your business in two ways. The quality of employees. If you have competent employees, happy employees, they will be able to give a good service. They are going to give a good service, and that will make your clients happy. Therefore, you will actually increase your sales. I want us now to look at macro environment, and then we ask ourselves which components makes up this kind of environment. Macro environment. Macro environment. You can proceed and say, after saying macro, just write macro dash environment. Of course, guys, I'll be able to share the notes as well. Environment. I'll be able to share the notes as well as usual on WhatsApp. So I'll just try to summarize. When you get your free time, you can go through the notes as well. Now, you can say that these are the major external and uncontrollable factors. They refer to the major external. They are the major. That is why we call it macro. Major external and uncontrollable factors. Major external and uncontrollable factors that influence the decision-making of an organization. They are major external and uncontrollable factors that influence the decision-making of an organization. They influence the decision-making of an organization. So we are saying that the company does not operate in an environment alone. You don't need to write that. We are saying that the company does not operate in an environment alone, but it operates in a larger context. It comprises of forces that can provide opportunities, but at the same time, they can also provide threats. These forces that you don't have control over, they are the ones that we call macro. We normally refer to them as PESTEL. So these components or these factors can be referred to as PESTEL. That's right, PESTEL. The first one that affects your business, obviously, is political environment or political factors. That is P, political factors. Political factors. Political factors. So this includes the legislation. Political factors includes the laws that are passed by the government, parliament, right? The legislations, regulations, right? And of course, we also have political factors like hostile political environment, where the economy is not stable due to political issues, right? Of course, in a very hostile environment, you cannot be able to do business. Like today, who will want to do business in Congo, right? It's not easy, right? And even in Kenya, during election, you can see most of investors will shy away, right? Because of the environment. The next one is economic environment. The next E is economic environment. So I want to say that the current state of country's economy affects virtually every organization. You might not see it, but you'll feel it, and that is why we say virtually. The current state of a country's economy, the current state of a country's economy affects virtually every organization doing business there. So you proceed and say that in general, in a growing economy, more people are working and wages are growing. And therefore, listen, in general, comma, in a growing economy, or in other words, if economy grows, more people are working and wages are growing. So what happens? What will be the impact? If more people are working and they are able to earn salary, that therefore means that they will be having more disposable income, right? And they can spend. And if they spend, they're spending on the business around there. So that means that indirectly, the economy status will affect the business that exists or that operates in that particular environment or economy. I want you to proceed and say that, and therefore, consumers have relatively more money to spend. And therefore, consumers have relatively more money to spend. More money to spend, comma, more money to spend, comma. Businesses will be able to sell more products. Businesses will be able to sell more products in a growing economy than in a static or shrinking economy. Businesses will be able to sell more products in a growing economy than a static or shrinking economy. They'll be able to sell more products in a growing economy than a static or a shrinking economy. So we are agreeing that if economy is doing well, you can feel it, you can see the flow. And of course, those who are taking statistics, most of the businesses like supermarkets, they will be able to see. They normally give you a card, and that card is not to give you loyalty or let you redeem the bonga points. That card helps them to track how many times you shop in a month, and they can make their decision by considering the type and the nature of the trend of shopping, the trend that is taking place there. They will be able to know how frequently are you buying the product and which particular product at what time. That is why they normally give you those cards that you normally pick from the supermarkets. The next one is social. The next one is social factors. So we call it socio-cultural factors. Socio-cultural factors or forces. The way you like it, no problem. Socio-cultural factors or forces. So you can say that this refers to the way in which changing social morals and values affect the industry. This refers to the way social morals and values affect an industry. So social changes can actually create opportunities, right? Social changes can actually create opportunities. They can actually create opportunities. So let's look at this. The way people put on, right now, people are now moving away from the old way of putting on. So you'll find that today, most ladies are even putting on long trousers, right? And that is an opportunity. You can go to a business, especially next to colleges, you'll have a group of youths who can actually buy your products. That is a change in social. Another one, we can have technology. The social changes in telecommunication industry and technology, you can see that most people are now using cyber. Most people are now using their phones, using email. Those are opportunities. We have so many cyber cafe around. We have people selling phones that are quite digital because that is what the social change demands, right? We have social attitudes as well and behaviors and beliefs. Again, under this, we have attitudes, behavior, and beliefs. I believe that you cannot sell pork next to mosque or where Islamic religion is prominent. Still, where it is dominant, you cannot sell pork, right? So that therefore means that the attitude or belief of these particular people do not allow certain kind of businesses to operate in their areas. When we talk about, again, social, we're talking about things like demography, the age factor, right? In a setup, you need to understand, as a business person, who are your target or targeted customers and what would they prefer? Let's take an example. Most people in the rural area you'll find that most of our parents, the grandma, the grandpas are there. So there are type of clothes that you can definitely not sell at home, but you'll definitely sell them in Nairobi, right? So again, the beliefs, the demography, distribution affects the kind of business that you can actually start in a given area. Let's look at technology. This one, without saying you know that it affects business, right? Many businesses have gone down, not because they have done anything wrong, but because they failed to take advantage of the technology. You guys can remember Eveready Paka Power during those days. You know, some of you are not born by then. Eveready Paka Power. Which one is the famous advertisement that you guys remember? For Eveready Paka Power. Kina nani wanakumbuka yule mzee alikuwa anasema betri ikiisha atia mimi. Nani anakumbuka hiyo advert? Alikuwa anaitwa nani? Hiyo kama mzee. Nelson, do you remember that mzee? Alikuwa anaitwa Peter or somebody. Betri yako ikiisha patia mimi. They were trying to say that Eveready was so powerful that even when you think it has gone, it is finished, that watchman will still take it, anagonga hivi na inaanza kufanya kazi. So anaambia huyu mzee, when you feel it is now done, you're now done with it, please get it back to me. I'll be able to use it. It was actually powerful. But what happened? Think about the early 2000s when you're talking about the serious phones like Nokia. Where is Nokia today? Think about you. What happened to Yahoo? What happened to Yahoo? The serious companies. When you don't adopt technology, definitely you can go down. So as a business person, you need to understand the environment. And today, most physical colleges are also going down. Why? Because of technology. You can attend class through Zoom from the comfort of your home. We don't want to pay rent for some 3, 4, or only 10 students, right? And then you pay 100,000 in a month. Businesses doesn't allow you to incur such kind of losses, right? So what you're saying is that you need to adopt technology. You can write something small about technology and say that technology is the knowledge, tools, and techniques used to transform inputs into outputs. Technology is the knowledge. Technology is the knowledge, tools, and techniques used to transform inputs. It's knowledge, tools, and techniques used to transform inputs into outputs. I want to say that although technological changes can benefit a business, they can also threaten it. Although technological changes can benefit a business, they can also threaten it. Also, companies must embrace new technology and find effective ways to use it to improve their products. Companies must embrace new technology and find effective ways to use it to improve their products and services. If they don't, they will lose out to those companies that do. And that is exactly what I've just explained concerning or about the Eveready Paka Power. We have Poster. You remember those days when you were working in Poster, you are a serious person. You are considered to be a very serious person, right? We have Nokia. Those are very serious companies. But because they simply refuse to adopt technology, they are nowhere. They can never compete today. So we talked about PESTEL, so we are at T. The next one, ecological, right? Ecological factors. Now, I want you to understand this. Going green. Today we are talking about going green, right? Going green. Most of the companies are now being told to report the ESG, right? That is environmental, social, and governance. How does your business affect these ones? Means that they want to know how you are affecting the environment where you are. So it is about going green. I normally give example. I used to have a client in Masai Mara, and when you go there, they are now going green. You'll find that they are using motor vehicles that do not give out fumes. So they are actually using solar. They don't even put the fence around the compound, right? So you'll find animals just walking. They don't want to affect the environment, and it is a policy from the county council. So therefore, it is about maintaining the status of nature the way you find it. Don't change. If the animals are walking freely, let them walk. They don't want the sound. They don't want to see those gases that we release in the environment. So ecological factors also affect the business. You can do business where you are given conditions or regulations that you have to maintain the nature. So maintaining the nature or going green is now what we are referring to, ecological factors, where we have to maintain the mother nature the way it was. And that is a policy. There's a policy you have to adopt. So if you're doing business in such kind of areas, the regulations might force you to do that. Ecological factors, right? These are factors that relate to regulations put in place by the government or county government, which requires businesses to maintain the status of the mother nature, maintaining the status of the mother nature without affecting the environment, without interfering with the animals that are in those particular areas and such kind of things. The last one is legal factors. So legal factors are basically laws that are passed, the court decisions that can affect your business, the laws, court decisions that can affect the business. For sure, they affect the business because you have to, when you're doing business, you need to understand the legal environment. What are the laws surrounding the kind of business that you do? Are you allowed to operate? Are you given some hours that you can actually use? Like now in Kenya, there's a time the county government said that bars and pubs cannot be operated before a certain time. Did they say around from 4 in the evening or 6? But they were actually restricting the time. That is how those legal issues can affect your business. So I hope that you guys can see that we have factors that are beyond your control, which we call macro. They are major and they are beyond your control. They are outside your business, but they are major. That is the key thing. Those are what we are referring to in macro. We are referring to them as macro environment. Let's now look at the internal environment. Internal environment. Internal environment. Internal environment. Internal environment. So this constitutes everything. This constitutes everything. This constitutes everything, right? That please say that this constitutes everything inside the farm that might affect their ability. Everything inside the farm that can affect the ability of managers to pursue certain actions. This constitutes everything inside the firm. This constitutes everything inside the firm that might affect the ability of managers to pursue certain actions or strategies. So remember what we talked about. When we said micro, we are talking about something that has got direct impact to the business. We were not talking about the ones that are within. They could be from external factors, but they affect the business directly. Whether it is from outside, but it affects the business directly, then we call it micro. Now, under internal, we are talking about the factors that are within the business, but affect the business. Whether they are big, whether they are small, but they are within the business. For example, let's look at this. You can say that the following are the factors that determine internal environment. The following are the factors. The following are the factors that determine internal environment. We agree that they are within, they are internal. Number one, value system. So, component or factors that affects the internal environment, number one is value system. Value systems. Or just system, and they say value system. So what is the value? When somebody says that these are our values, these are our values, these are basically the ethical beliefs that you guys have put in place, how you believe. So you can say that this means This means the ethical beliefs that guide the organization in achieving its mission and objective. The ethical beliefs that guides the organization. The ethical beliefs that guides the organization. This means the ethical beliefs that guides the organization. This means the ethical beliefs that guides the organization in achieving its mission. So we're talking about value system, and we are saying that value systems are ethical beliefs that guide. Value systems are the ethical beliefs that guide. Value systems are the ethical beliefs that guides the organization in achieving its mission and objective. It guides the organization in achieving its mission and objectives. It guides the organization in achieving its missions and objectives. You proceed and say that the value system of a business also determines its behavior towards its employees. The value system of a business also, the value system of a business also, the value system of a business also, the value system of a business also determines its behavior, also determine its behavior towards its employees, comma, towards its employees, comma, customers, and society at large. So we have people who started the business. We call them promoters. Most of the time, they are the partners, they're the directors. What their attitude is, what their belief is, will affect the employees that will come. The employees will always follow what they found. So therefore, when you're starting a business, or even at home where we live, we have people, right? The children, the people that we stay with, will always follow the values. The way the parents believes or behaves, that is what we will always follow, right? So you can proceed and say that the value system of the promoters of an organization has got an important bearing. The value system of an organization has got an important bearing on the choice of business and adoption of business policies and practices. It has got an important bearing on the choice of business and the adoption of business policies and practices. The choice of business policies and practices. Now, guys, just before we proceed, I want to look at a question. Just write at the top of your book, somewhere at the top, just write a question, past paper question. There was a question that was set in 2021, say December 2021, in bracket pilot paper, December 2021, pilot paper. They were asking, you'll look at the past paper question later. We have them on WhatsApp, so you can look at them later. They are saying that briefly discuss how social, political, economical, and technological factors in the broader society influence organization and practices of management over time. Briefly discuss how social, political, economical, and technological factors. Those are 4 factors: social, political, economical, and technological factors in the broader society influence organizations and the practices of management over time. Now, that is something that is actually coming from what we just discussed. So they're trying to tell you, and that was 8 marks. So imagine the pass mark is normally 50, right? So you're looking at 42 now, because that one imekuwa mboga. Looking at now 42, in case such kind of question comes. So therefore, you need to listen and relate these factors, how they can affect your business. Explain exactly what you're saying and say how they can affect the profits that you get in the business. Okay. Another question that they brought 2019, and this one we might cover in our next class, but it's very important for you so that you pay attention. 2019 November. 2019 November, there was a question that they were setting. They are saying, justify the use of SWOT analysis in strategic management. Justify the use of SWOT analysis. So SWOT analysis is basically part of the tools of analysis, analytical tools. So you need to justify how it is being used in strategic management. That is a question in November 2019, question number 2B. You can refer to your past papers, you'll be able to see them. April 2022. April 2022. I told you that you can write it at the top of your book or maybe at the back. That is question number 6B. They are saying that some organizations, listen carefully, some organizations enjoy a fairly stable world, while others face growing uncertainty. With reference to the above statement, state 2 variables that determine the level of uncertainty in the environment. So that's still around environment. So listen, now in exam, these guys might not ask you directly what you've taught in class, but once you have understood what environment is and how it can affect the business, then you should be able to handle this kind of questions. For example, They're now saying that you need to give two variables that determine the level of uncertainty in the environment. One of the things that affects or causes uncertainty in the environment is normally technological changes. When the technology keeps on changing, you don't know what else will come in. You think that you're doing the right thing, but things have changed. So that is an external environment. But the examiner is asking you to explain PESTEL. They are not telling you to explain external factors, but they're testing that indirectly. State two variables that determine the level of uncertainty in the environment, 2 marks. So we talked about that. It causes uncertainty. The other one that can also affect are the changing laws and regulations. Today unaambiwa it is done this way, tomorrow tax policies have changed, like now what is happening with KK government. You don't even know the next tax issues. You don't even know how to file SHA and the rest. So those kind of changes, and that is under legal factor that affects, they are making us now become uncertain, right? That is how you can be able to apply what we are studying today in exams. You can be able to apply this. Just open your mind a little bit and you'll be good. Now, from where we left, we can proceed. We can proceed. So what had we looked at? We are looking at internal environment and we talked about the value system. So another internal environment, I was looking at the past paper so that you can be keen, you can be able to understand and connect what we are studying with the questions. They are not coming directly. They will never come directly. So the other factor, number 2, after value system is called vision, mission, and objective. Those are the internal factors. Can somebody tell me the difference between vision and mission? So Lydia is asking whether those animals are harmful. Lydia, hata mimi niliogopa. Kwanza where we were, it was along the riverbank. So kwa hapo, kwa tent, alafu unaona elephant inapita. But the Masai guys, I don't know, those guys hata wagopi. Wanazitoa kama ng'ombe, alafu unaona simba inaenda, elephant inaenda. Just imagine. Those guys live with them. No fence at all. Natembea hivi, but wewe ukijaribu alone, they will kill you. But they know the people who are from the area, they know. Najua huyu ni Masai, Masai ni kama animal. Wamezoeana. They are not affected. I also witnessed, I was scared, especially the first day. You could see them literally just walking next to you. You feel. But as those who are there, they're used to it. And then another thing that we were also told, that those animals we are not part of their meals. We are not part of their diet. Ukimchokoza, utaona. The only one that is dangerous is not even lion. Lion is not even dangerous. Kuna hii inaitwa buffalo. Anze, hiyo hata ikuona hivi, you will see. Lion is not dangerous. Buffalo. Okay, so we talked about vision and mission. Somebody can tell me, what are the differences?